Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome inside the latest edition of Zach with an H. We've got Jordan Yee, we've got Tapa Dey. They are both part of Major League Table Tennis, sport that is growing. The league itself is entering into its third season. Jordan works as the marketing manager, and Tapa Dey, the director of technology, who also moonlights as a professional player. And we are going to get into both of those. It is great to have both of you on, and very excited to talk about a sport that is near and dear to all of our hearts today.
Yeah, we're excited to be here. Thanks for having us, Zach.
My pleasure. And so, Tapa, we'll start with you. Table tennis has been a big part of your life. You've played on teams in a number of different countries, had a lot of really cool opportunities within. But what is your earliest memory with table tennis?
Oh, good question. So I grew up in India and I learned how to play table tennis in India. And I come from a table tennis family. So my dad and my cousins, and, it just runs in the family. So I would say, no one really knows when I started playing table tennis. I even don't know when I started. So I just know I was always tagging along with my cousins and my dad and, going to our club and different events with them. So I think the earliest memory I would say is just watching, at that time, my cousins and their friends, they were junior national team players, and they're competing very in a professional setting. So I just remembered them training in one table that we had in our club. So, and I was watching from the back and bouncing ball on my racket. And I was maybe a few years old at that time. So I would say that's the earliest memory I have.
You're getting started right in the beginning right there. And Jordan, how about yourself? What's your earliest table tennis memory?
Oh, definitely not like Tapa's. I didn't discover it until maybe I was in middle school. We were at my older sister's apartment, and my brother was just trying to teach me how to play. And so we would just spend long evenings, until 1 or 2 at night, just trying to get better, and then just playing with friends at church, and just trying to beat him, really.
It was good years. Now, similarly for me, I started playing when regularly we got our first table when I got back from a class trip in the 8th grade. And by the time high school was over, my brother was coming back from college and we were having battles. He wasn't beating me 21-5 anymore. It wasn't 21-3. We were having battles, and I feel like it's one of those sports that when you start out teaches you a lot of patience and kind of a lot about precision. And as I'm sure Tapa, with the level you've been able to achieve as a player, it kind of starts with the basics, right? And then you just kind of go full-fledged, putting it to use at the highest possible level. So
yeah, I agree. Yeah, super cool.
Jordan, for you, when did you know that you wanted to make a career working in professional table tennis?
Oh, man. So when I finished college, I was working part-time, in Parks and Recreation. And as I was, looking for jobs and trying to figure out what I wanted to do, I realized I needed some secondary income. So I found another part-time job at my local table tennis club. And that was actually when I was fully introduced to the sport. I wasn't just playing recreationally with my brother and friends, but it was actually seeing, club players with ratings and organized play, where I just fell in love with it. So I've been there for 8 years or so. And from that, kind of just got involved with helping out with the youth leagues that are around Los Angeles. Started helping out with collegiate table tennis that's nationwide. And I went back to school and I did a thesis on how to make a professional ping pong league. And because we didn't have one in the US, right? And I was thinking, oh, it'd be so cool. How come all these other countries, have a pro league? And, this is one of the most popular sports around the world. How come the US doesn't have any of this? I would love to be involved in doing something like that. And it was just, deep personal decisions where, I had a job at the time, and they were requiring more more time spent to that job. And I thought, I can't give up ping pong. Like, I have to be involved in ping pong. And so I decided to leave that job and to pursue, career in table tennis. And, Major League Table Tennis started in 2023. And so it just aligned really well. And I absolutely love it.
And we're going to get into a lot more of the nuances of your role and the league itself. And top up for you, we talk about your ping pong beginnings, but when did you realize that you had the skill and ability to play professionally?
Yeah. So I think my main like journey started after, I think, 2008 Olympics. I was watching it on TV and I realized, like, this is so cool thing. Like, just to watch the sport. And I remember Malin, I think, won that year. And right after that, I wanted to start playing seriously. Before that, I was just hanging around with my family and just playing every now and then. It was still serious in some sort of way, but not really for me. And then right after that, I started training. I went back to India for a few years, and my cousin became a coach, head coach of our club. And so he was putting a lot of effort with me and the other guys at the club. And soon I represented my state in India, which is one of the most competitive states, called West Bengal. And and that's when I was like, you know what? Actually, now I'm at the national stage in India. So, it felt pretty fun to compete at that level. And then I moved to the US. I'm from Michigan, and I realized, like, we don't really have so much professional training in Michigan. And so I looked for other opportunities, and then I moved to Europe when I was 16-ish, I think. Ever since then, I have been living in Sweden, England, Spain, France. Just to continue training. And after like 22, I kind of stopped and transitioned into software engineering. That's kind of like my story.
And with that, of course, you are now the director of technology, and we are here today. You are back in with table tennis. So, how did you get started at the company? And was this something that you kind of, once you saw that the league was around, this is something that you're like, I have to do this. Even if I'm not playing, I can still be around the game.
Yeah, that's a very good question. Basically in my late 20s, I started to code. I got lucky. My friend just showed me how to move a box on the screen, and that really intrigued me. And I kind of got into game development and slowly into building software. And then I was working like, random jobs, like coding related jobs, sort of like a freelancer based. And then I worked at a fintech company, and I soon realized finance was not really for me. It was cool building and learning a lot of deep tech stuff and understanding how like the fintech world works. But then I saw this ad on Instagram pop up, like Major League Table Tennis, and like apply today to get your chance or something. It was very catchy. I forgot the exact ad, but I initially applied to play. And at that time, I kind of gave up table tennis. Like, I wasn't really training. This was like early 2023, March or April-ish. And I got an email back from our VP of competition, who I know personally as well, through many years in Michigan. And she responded, "Hey, I'm sorry, but you didn't get selected," And then I was like, "Wait, this is very cool, like to get rejected." And so then I started getting on the website, and I saw there was a position open for director of technology. So I applied, thinking, I'm not really qualified for it, but I just took a shot, and turns out, I got hired, and here we are 2 years later. Yeah.
A lot of inspiration to be taken from that, in that, well, first, you go in, you know what you want to do, you take a shot. The first one doesn't work, but you get your own rebound, and you just dunk the ball right back, right, and getting the opportunity to be director of tech. And then I think the other layer of that, and what we're going to talk about a lot with you, Jordan, is the power of marketing, right? He sees the ad on Instagram that you're helping to put out there, and then it reaches Tapa, which brings us here today, which I think says that, word of mouth marketing, and in this digital age, that we can find the ads anywhere. We can find the opportunity anywhere if we just look hard enough.
Yeah, absolutely. Funny story enough, though, actually, Tapa had started before me. And yeah, we both, I think, were just excited, when we had learned about the league, and it was nice. The league brought us together, me being from Los Angeles, Tapa from Michigan. I think that's probably one of my favorite parts about MLTT is that, we get to meet table tennis community all around the US.
Yeah, and so Jordan, as we evolve the conversation a little bit, we are now 2 seasons into Major League Table Tennis. As we go into year 3, a couple new teams, including the New York Slice. The sale was just finalized a couple of weeks ago. Will be coming in. So, how did viewership and fandoms in MLTT evolve from season 1 to coming back for season 2?
It's been amazing, actually. Growth has been exponential. I believe that at the end of season 2, we went right from the beginning of season 1 with everything being completely brand new to the end of season 2. I believe that their social channels have broken 20,000 subscribers on Instagram, and so yeah, our marketing team has been doing a lot of work. Of just getting the word out there, getting content that's viewable, that's quick, that's exciting, and that people, want to crave more and to actually see it, here in the US. I think that, initially that when we had started, it's kind of just starting in the table tennis clubs, right? And folks that generally enjoy table tennis. But our social team and our marketing team, they're putting a lot of work into trying to reach just the general sports community. And so people who are just, baseball fans, basketball fans, football fans, everything, they're now seeing what this is about and getting excited about it.
And then, kind of additionally, Jordan, you talk about 8 years working at the local club before you're kind of able to transition full time into working in table tennis. How do you feel that it's brought you even closer to the game, kind of now being able to be around it full time, traveling to the different events as they happen, and just getting the word out across the country and really, globally now too?
I love it. That's what I'm most passionate about. Being able to encourage people, to live healthier, and socialize with one another. Typically, it feels like folks in our table tennis community are very tight knit, right? A lot of the kids that I love to work with, right? Maybe they weren't encouraged, to play contact sports, growing up. And so they were just trying to figure out their journey. And so introducing them to table tennis and kind of getting them excited about a sport and just seeing them have fun is what excites me the most. And then, kind of being part of MLTT and seeing the community beyond just LA, and I was watching Tapa. I think the tournament was like maybe like one of the US like open that was just like a couple weeks ago, where they're getting ready for the national tournament, where I saw a whole bunch of kids that I realized that I've come in contact with now over the past couple of years, like, under 11, under 15, under 19, who are competing to, try to become the next pros for the United States. And so it's just so exciting to kind of recognize them and realize, oh, I had conversations with them. And really just MLTT opening the doors to so many opportunities.
And top up for you now, being immersed in the league for a couple years, and maybe it hasn't, but if it has, how has your relationship kind of with the sport changed, going from you're just playing it to now you're involved in how we're seeing MLTT, how we're seeing everything come to life, and maybe what you've also seen kind of firsthand since you got in?
Yeah, that's another very good question. I think Um, in terms of me as a player, things haven't changed in the last 5 years so much. I had some, injuries and some setbacks that stopped me from playing much. But in terms of like involvement, that definitely increased. I think more on the community aspect, like Jordan was saying. Like I think before it was just me on a singular path. I don't know if that's the right phrase to say, but it was just me focusing on me playing. But now I can see myself thinking more about the community and how like what we build and how we approach to things uh, has a direct impact. So I would say like that is somewhere I'm focusing heavily on in the last 2 years, where what are we building for the community and for the next generation, and like how do we build a better product, either like the league as a whole, or like like even like from a technical standpoint, thinking about the user experience, and like how do we elevate that experience and engagement essentially for our players and like future players, and just to grow the sport and to make it feel like this is where you come to not only socialize but also have fun, right? I think that's where I guess there is definitely a mental shift. I don't know if that answers your question, but
It definitely does, and I think the fact that you're able to kind of peel back that many layers of kind of what it's meant kind of just shows that this is where you're meant to be, right? You're around the sport that you're able to travel for, that you're able to get involved with, and I think that's the case with this conversation with both yourself and Jordan, right? Is you want more people seeing table tennis because, especially in America and through Canada, and as you go across, but starting in America, it's all American football and basketball and baseball, and as you get into tennis, regular tennis and hockey, you have your international fans, but some of the other ones have grown globally, but they're mostly played on the big time professionally, within the US. And right, Jordan, now that it's kind of coming in, we're kind of seeing that people do love table tennis. They just haven't had the chance to realize that because they've only been able to play with their friends. They haven't seen the big dogs coming out of the yard and into the arena. So I think it's been great to follow in season 3, just a couple of short months away. And Jordan, starting with you here, we've talked about some of the logistics, but what's your actual favorite moment that you've been a part of so far with the league?
Oh, so many. I'd say the one that really stands out to me was just when we were finishing up season 1, we were at the finals, and just kind of taking it all in, just seeing, the crowd that we had, the excitement of the players when they were handed that trophy, and just thinking like, wow, like we actually did it, like we started a professional league in the United States. And it was, I think, just the most incredible feeling in the world to feel like a year ago it was at 0. And now we were at this with rabid fans, players who were out here just crying, over their emotions of the win, seeing the folks, that had just lost, and, just them grappling with those feelings where it was more than just playing for themselves. It was, playing for their team. And that was the kind of feeling that we wanted to introduce out here, right? I think a lot of folks are just so used to playing singles or doubles. And, you win, you lose, but it's just for you. So this team idea was crucial, to the whole aspect of what the league is about, where they're not just playing for themselves, but they're playing for their buddies that they're on the same team with.
And Tapa, how about for you? What's been your favorite moment from the league in its couple of seasons?
man, I have so many favorite moments, but I want to share 2 that I have in mind. The first one, like Jordan was mentioning, like seeing raw emotions in different individuals, right, including players. And my experience was through fans. That's something I've always sort of reflected as a player as well, like, hey, why does the sport struggle with fan engagement or viewership in general? But when we were in Portland, I believe, in season one, I believe early last year, that was the first time where we had like 700 people. Jordan, correct me if I got the numbers wrong here, but I think it was like 700 people, like just in a stadium or in our venue, and they were just loud as in like they're excited and like they're having fun, and they had raw sporting energy, and they were fighting for their Portland team, and it just felt like just a whole different energy. Like just talking about it, I'm getting goosebumps about it. So I think it just showed me like, wow, like this is what is really missing. Like people are not really exposed to what competitive table tennis is in the US. And we're basically helping bring this experience to our viewers that would have never experienced that. They always think of table tennis as a basement sport, right? Like, and now they're seeing it as like an actual competitive sport. So that was a huge thing to experience. And the other if I still have
Please.
yeah. The other one is last year. Suddenly, I got to play as a free agent player. We were out of options, and one of our players for the Bay Area Blasters team, he had an injury. Like they were celebrating, and his finger broke, and it was just huge turn of events. Like I was sick, and then suddenly I'm asked like, hey, do you want to play? Do you want to sub in? And I think that was just a crazy turn of events. And so the next day I warmed up for like 2 hours and got on the table, and it was just fun to experience that, and also to see, like, kind of experience what the players are going through as well. And it was so stressful like to be there as a player. So huge credits to the players, performing at such a high level under such pressure to uh, help their teams win. So yeah, fantastic experiences.
I take mine back. My favorite experience was cheering for Tapa when he was out there playing.
How'd we do? Tapa, how'd the match go? I do realize you left that part out. Maybe there's a reason. Maybe you want to be very modest. Maybe you had a great showing.
It was not too bad, not too great. Yeah, like in terms of my performance, I was able to score one game in doubles, and I had a lot of help from my doubles partner Tao and Zhang, who I've admired since I was a kid. I've seen him win U.S. Open, and so to get to share the table with him at that day felt like so cool. But in terms of my performance, like I was mentioning earlier, I haven't been really in training for a few years now, and like I play every now and then, but just for fun. And I feel like to bring that performance onto this professional setting, that was a huge ask, I think. And so yeah, so I was not really in shape or mentally really able to fight for the team, but ultimately we lost the match. But we were able to gain 1 point from our doubles round, and we have a sixth round called Golden Game, and I lost a lot of points there. And
Tapa still did great. He did great.
it was 50-50. Yeah.
So with that, great transition here. Jordan, first you, and then Tapa. For those that see Major League Table Tennis, they see the advertising, they're not sure what to do next. What is your advice for those people that really want to find a way to either get involved, whether it's be in the league, whether it's watch the league, whether it's get merch for the league, whatever it may be?
Yeah. Our goal would be to come and watch it in person. Table tennis is extremely fast. It's one of the fastest reaction sports on the planet. And seeing it on TV, especially with our broadcast, it's cool. It's the way that the camera angles work. It's amazing to watch it and to hear the commentators, but it is totally different in person. When you see it in person and you can really see the curvature of the ball, how fast the players have to move, how they're swinging before their opponent even hits the ball, you're just overwhelmed with the amount of athleticism and just the excitement of the sport. And it is completely different than what I believe that a lot of folks, when they hear ping pong, they just think, you're kind of hitting it around lightly, in a backyard, being silly. If you have good enough hand-eye coordination, sure, you can play. But our pro league, you can't do that. There's so much touch, right? There's a lot of technical skill that these players are training and practicing, that it is a completely different level. And so, yeah, coming in person, seeing it with your own eyes, is a complete game changer.
Tapa, how about you? What advice would you say, or what advice would you pass on to those that want to get involved with the fandom of Major League Table Tennis?
Yeah, just like Jordan said, come watch the matches, follow us on social media. We are on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and also start playing. I think once you start playing, you start to realize how fun it is and how many technical aspect there is to the game, and not just technical, but like strategic and mental aspect. So like I think once you start to appreciate that, and when you come to watch the matches, and then hopefully you stick to the game, and go play in tournaments. It's just a fun, I guess, thing to be involved with. And yeah, so pick any of those straws there.
Sure. And so, great insights from both you. And again, we're not done, folks, but a reminder, make sure that you do follow Major League Table Tennis across all social. There is a lot of very cool things coming for season 3, the expansion, more matches, a bigger player pool, and everything. But from there, we transition now. We get to know the two people on with us. Jordan Yee, Tapa Dey a little bit better. Tapa, I'm going to start with you here. Who is your dream table tennis opponent that you think you can beat?
Ooh, that's a very, very tough one. Oof. My dream opponent, though, at least I want to, answer that question. I would say Fan Dong or Ma Long would be my dream opponents. Now, if I can beat them, that's a whole different story.
Of course.
Maybe not in this lifetime, but
You never know, right? You never know. Maybe maybe the ball got greased, or there's an errant object when they go to hit the ball once or twice.
Yeah,
You have a sliding system,
Yeah.
Yeah, more like they'll be playing with their non-dominant hand with one eye closed and with only like balancing on one foot.
That would be close. I could see an 11-9, like an 11-9, 8-11 type score there.
Yeah, I think
I get a couple shots out of the good eye.
Yeah, I think I could take at least 5-6 points. Maybe I can push it to 9. We'll see. We'll see about that. But yeah.
Jordan, how about yourself? Your dream opponent, and if you think you could beat them, or someone you think you could beat in that, like, I wish I could play against X, Y, Z.
As far as a dream opponent that I think I could beat, that would not go well for me. But I'd say a player that I admire a lot, one that really inspired me to get into the game, and just love table tennis, actually was probably the same match that you're watching, Tapa, the 2008 Beijing Olympics, seeing Ma Lin and Timo Boll face off against each other. And to me, you know, Malin was a pen holder and Timo was a shake hands player. It was just like, wow, like obviously I had never seen, you know, pro ping pong before, and the Olympics was the first introduction to that, where it's just like, wow, both of those players are just so cool, and really just admiring, you know, their dedication to the game and ambassadors of the sport. Um, I probably watched every single match that I could find on YouTube of both of those guys. So I would love to meet them. I'd be terrified to play against them. I remember watching Nikhil Kumar playing against Timo. I think, what was that, like last year, 2 years ago? And like Timo just crushing it. And Nikhil is an amazing player. And it was just like, wow. Like Timo is just so good. So amazing to watch.
At top level is something else, right? They go from first gear to kind of that S tier, like one A gear, and it's all of a sudden you can't return it. You got the slams going to the corner. They got crazy spin. They're putting so much spin, it's coming back to their side. They're serving out off the edge of the table. Right? That's it. You just gotta. You mentioned the shake hands type play. That great job. Nothing that could be done. Kind of the beauty of the pinnacle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, slightly different gear, but a question that has been asked to every guest that has come on. Tapa, we'll start with you, and we will get back in the sport. But your favorite food that you cook?
Ooh, favorite food. So something that I could eat.
Yeah, your favorite food to cook. Sorry, favorite food to cook. Your favorite thing that Chef Tapa puts on his chef's hat and his apron and goes to prepare.
Probably like, good grilled chicken. I think that's definitely, yeah, very, very like high protein.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
so nice stir fry with it.
Say again. Sorry.
Nice little stir fry with it.
Yeah, nice stir fry. Yeah, like some quinoa maybe.
Yeah,
that'd be nice. That'd be nice.
Jordan, how about yourself?
Oh no, such an embarrassing question. My wife and I, neither of us can cook. Or or she could cook. I probably just can't cook too well. I would say that our go-to meal might just be like, you know, noodles. Yeah, basic, but that is probably all that we can do.
Oh no, that still counts. That counts. You take the ingredients, you turn it into something edible that'll get you through. Get you through that time of the day. That counts. We don't just cook. As Tapa knows as well, we don't only cook at the table, the ping pong table. You're cooking to bring it to the kitchen table as well.
Exactly.
So you have to have the versatility. And so one more food question. We'll slide right back to table tennis. Jordan, start with you. Popular question I've been asking people for about 2 years. Start, bench, cut, sandwich, panini, and wrap.
In order from like top to bottom?
So which one is if you could have it all the time, which one would be your backup and which one you would just cut out from your life if you had to?
Oh, wait, you said panini, sandwich, or
And
wrap?
Yeah.
Ooh, I can have sandwiches all day.
Okay.
One that I guess it cut out, I guess a panini. I don't know. Have I had a panini? Maybe once. I guess that one would have had to do.
All right. So wrap is kind of on the backup, where if you're tired of sandwiches, you'll slide the wrap in.
Yeah, those are fine.
Tapa, how about yourself? Same question.
I think panini is something I would want to eat. I could eat every meal.
Yeah, I feel
Sandwich would come second, and wrap would be probably cut.
okay. So goodbye to the wrap. No more chicken Caesar wraps for him.
Yeah.
No more grilled chicken inside of a wrap.
Yeah.
But okay. Had to ask. I've been of the personally. I'm of the side that I feel like wraps have the most versatility, because whether you're hungry or not, you can still kind of handle the wrap because it's got lighter bread. That the panini slides into the backup roll for a similar reason. And most paninis, you also, if you're getting it out, you got free chips included, and it's the kind of the perfect chip sandwich. You just kind of dip the half the panini, you get that free crunch. And sandwiches to me can kind of run the most messy and I don't know, I feel like they also fall apart more when you try to pack them when you're trying to save that second half for later.
Oh, love that. You have thought a lot about this.
It's been an ongoing question.
I've never thought about this before.
No, that's fair. It's we're too busy thinking about table tennis, which is where we're going back to now. So Tapa, and I know Jordan, you said you weren't going to answer this one, so it'll be an optional question for you. But Tapa, the most impressive table tennis victory you've had in this lifetime.
Oof. Most impressive victory.
In your mind, most impressive, at least.
Fun fact. Okay, yeah, I think this might be most impressive. So, although this was in recent years, this was when I was junior, and this was back in India. To qualify for our state team to represent in the nationals, I had to beat. So if you win in the third, fourth place, then you get a place as a third player on the team. Or fourth. And so in quarterfinals, I believe, I actually beat Jeet Chandra, who's our major league player now, and he's now he's like way better than me. Like he's a world ranked player, but that was I think one of my biggest wins, and to represent West Bengal at the nationals, and also get a win against Jeet. I think back then, Jeet and I, we were kind of head to head, if I am not mistaken. But now he's a lot he's a world ranked player. So yeah, good memories.
So do you think it was your victories that kind of propelled them to say, "Wait a minute, I think we gotta take our training to the next level"?
I think so.
Oh, no.
Hey,
just
people say this in different cultures as well, but I say this in a good way, but it always starts before a meal. You have the tapas, right? And so before you can go to the next level, you have the tapa. So
yeah, I'm one of the bosses that you gotta cross. Like
you're the last level, coded to be unbeatable until you've trained this many hours and until you get that next level victory. But a very impressive way to kind of start, because and I think for you, right, Top, on a more serious note, then when you pick up wins like that, it kind of tells you that I'm good at it. There's a reason I'm putting the time in. I'm good enough to do this, and I am doing this, right?
Yeah, it's definitely like helps you to kind of get an assurance that my hard work is paying off, and that this is the right direction to go towards. But at the same time, like table tennis or any other sport, it comes with a lot of factors. It's not just enough with how much you're training. It's important to have like the right type of funding, right type of coaching, right type of like strategy, and like lifestyle, and there's so many things going on like that really makes a player a world-class level player. So I think it's hard to fill in all those buckets, but it's definitely good to see, like, once you get those wins, to see, okay, like to get sort of validation, like, hey, okay, we're moving towards the right direction. But that's what makes it so fun, that there's so many uncertainties and so many aspects to the game.
The beauty of sport, said beautifully right there, Tapa. And so appreciate both of your time today. And before we sign off, Jordan and Tapa, anything you want to plug? The floor is yours.
Yeah, we just want to encourage folks, go out and experience table tennis. Watch it, play it, see for yourself, like, why we're talking about it.
Yeah. Come watch us, follow us on social media. We have a new rating system called Spindex. Join it, spindex.mltt.com. Yeah, enjoy table tennis. Keep playing it.
Long live table tennis. MLTT Season 3 coming to a device and a television as well as a city near you soon. But for Jordan Yee And for Tapa Dey, this has been the Zach with an H podcast, and we will see you again